Is not. What's got the conservative firebrand fired up today is news that Tim is on a tear, pushing to expand Treasury's power to seize sick institutions at the very first sign of trouble. Now, Levin predicted this very big government scenario in his latest book, and as of today, it is the #1 best-selling book on Amazon.com. It is called Liberty and Tyranny, a conservative manifesto. Mark, to coin one of your phrases, the statists are back with a vengeance, right?
It's unbelievable. There is no constitutional authority for this. I thought the American people liked capitalism. I mean, look, we luxuriate in this society as a result of the market system. Now we have a guy that couldn't remember to pay his Social Security taxes, couldn't remember to pay his Medicare taxes, even though he was subsidized to pay them and told to pay them. He's smarter than everybody else in all these industries, and now we have another czar. We have an administration full of czars, full of people who don't comply with the Constitution. The question today is, what is your authority, Mr. Secretary, to do this? I would like to know, what's the President's authority to do this?
Well, they're countering it, Mark. Our authority is because, and granted, because capitalism, by its chief proponents, failed. They abused it and almost took down the world's economy in doing it.
Well, you know, the problem is we didn't have a free market in the banking system. The banking system is the most regulated system next to the automobile industry. So there is no free market in the banking system. It's heavily regulated. We know about all these toxic loans, thanks to Uncle Sam pushing these loans as fast as they could, bundling them, encouraging the free market to respond with all kinds of financial packages, and then they pretend that it's something wrong with the free market. This is the way the status operates, and that's what I explain here. There are no limits on our government today. They're about, you know, they've close to nationalizing the automobile industry. Frankly, they basically nationalized the steel industry. They control the labor unions and giving them the authority that they give them. They control the products that are produced. They control what comes out of the chimney. They control what goes into the chimney. Now they want to control executive pay, and they're not going to limit it to bailed out companies.
No, absolutely. And they sent a signal about that, that they want to broaden this out. But don't you find it ironic, Mark, that as we're doing this here, Europe is actually going the opposite direction. For the French now to lecturing us on the role of big government. And the Swedes today said goodbye to Saab, that we're not going to rescue, we're not going to bail you out, you're on your own. What's happening here?
Because they have suffered through statism, and they're trying to reverse course to some extent. Apparently, we don't learn the lessons of history, and by we, I mean the people who are in charge now. You know, the leftist likes to talk about evidence and facts and modernity and progressivism. They're none of that. They're ideologues, and they're statists. That's why I explained it. They promote the government.
Now, that's your new term for liberals, isn't it?
Well, you know, it's not my term.
Because you say they actually besmirch liberals.
Yeah, because liberalism, classically speaking, is the opposite of authoritarianism. What I've seen in Congress the last 2 weeks is authoritarianism. What I've seen is the Italian legislature under Mussolini. These people are going absolutely nuts. They want to rip people out of their jobs. They want to destroy contracts. They want to name them. They want to target their families. This is the United States of America, and I would ask the American people, do you support this? What the hell's going on
here? But maybe they're hearing part of what you're saying, because we've been arguing that, you know, obviously for the few bad apples, you don't condemn the whole barrel, and they have been striking a nicer tone with Wall Street, maybe because they need a lot of these private guys to buy a lot of this public toxic bank debt.
It depends.
What do you make of that?
I make of it this. These guys are hacks. It depends on the day. And they have their wet finger in the air, and they're populists, and they're trying to figure out what to do. They've done a hell of a lot of damage in the last 2 months. One of the things markets require, and freedom requires, is stability, is a rule of law, is to be able to predict one generation to the next, one day to the next. The stock market's gone haywire, up 500 points one day.
Well, they argue, and this goes, I know you were this way about the Pride administration, these rescues, they were overdoing it, that there'd be real hell to pay if we didn't do any of this.
Well, really? What, $9 trillion maybe? I don't think so. AIG isn't really a company. It's really a shell that money goes through to other companies. You know,
we hope it's not a big shell, because I got life insurance through them.
It's a big shell.
I want to get paid with my family too.
Well, you break it up, you take the parts that are working, and you support them. The parts that aren't working. The great thing about capitalism is failure leads to success from other people.
But you've been arguing on your radio show, and you're a rock star with that we are sending sort of wimpy signals, that is, in addressing this, and that conservatives who sort of try to offer an olive branch should should in fact slap the other hand. So you've taken almost a militant approach to this, that conservatives have lost their mojo. What did you mean by that?
We need to present the American people with a position that's based on liberty, voluntary activity, capitalism. How do you go halfway with this crowd? What, 9 trillion? Maybe we should do 7 trillion, 6.5 trillion? We only nationalize banks that begins with A through L. I mean, they're so extreme. If conservatives aren't going to speak up now and find their legs,
well, who represents the view of their legs, or whatever you want to call it? I mean, when Rush Limbaugh and Michael Steele were in this sort of manufactured media battle, the perception was, did Rush speak for the Republican Party now, the conservative sort of purist view, or Steele, the more inclusive view that he was arguing? Who is it? What is it?
Rush speaks to conservative principles, and that's why Rush is the leader of the conservative movement, despite all the chihuahuas who want to be.
But is he the ostensible leader of the party?
That's different. Michael Steele runs the Republican bureaucracy. That's the Republican National Committee. That's what he ran for. That's what he won. I didn't vote for him. Nobody else did. I like Michael Steele. Rush Limbaugh is a very dear friend of mine. But there's no question, when it comes to espousing conservatism and conservative belief based on our founding, Rush Limbaugh is the leader.
Well, you see what's happening here? What they're going to do then, Mark, is look at this and say, see, this is the battle, the internecine battle, and Republicans, they don't know who they are.
There is no internecine battle. We have a 5%er crowd. And I don't even count Michael Steele in that. Michael Steele is fairly conservative, but he's running a Republican apparatus. Rush doesn't run a Republican apparatus, and he doesn't seem to. You know, I worked in the Reagan campaigns, fighting against the Republican establishment, and what we need to do is have the conservatives take over the Republican Party, and that's the goal. So there is a party and a platform.
So you're not in that camp that says that is a smaller part of the party now, and it can never be elected nationally?
Look, we've nominated moderates now. How many more times are we going to lose here? They just wiped us out in the Senate and the House based on moderate philosophy. I don't even know what a moderate philosophy. What is a socialist light? I don't even know what the hell that is anymore. Why don't we try running on our conservative? You know something? Liberty is a hell of a thing. I get callers on my phone who come out of Eastern Europe. These are the most patriotic Americans you can imagine, and every one of them says, America needs to wake up. What's going on? 50, 60% income taxes, nationalizing industries. We ran away from this, and we need to listen to these people because they're right. There is no halfway measure when we're fighting this kind of.
Well, let me ask you, when I listen to your radio show,
don't you love it? Be honest.
You have a great sense of humor.
Are you a stalker?
I'm not a stalker.
I think you're close.
But I think you know automatically when a liberal caller is on the line.
All right, they tell me it's a liberal.
You're very mean to them.
Right.
You're nasty.
Right.
Why?
Because they're trying to destroy my country.
No, they just want to talk to you.
Should I be sweetheart to them?
Well, I think
they want to steal my money and undermine my family?
I would start off being nice and hearing them out.
I say, what do you want?
For a second.
I do. I say, what do you want? What do you want from me? What do you want to take from me? What am I supposed to give to you? Go.
So that's not an act, or you also are very comically gifted. You're funny.
I told you were a stalker.
No, but yes, I am.
Yes.
But now you're not answering my question.
Well, look.
You hate them, don't you?
No, I don't.
You want them.
Some of my best friends are liberals. No, that's not true.
Okay.
I want them defeated because they are dangerous for my country. It's one thing if I'm in the classroom and they're entertaining. Stupid people are entertaining all the time. But
so you don't have like a Levinized or a Hannitized version of what you do, right?
Well, we do have a Levinized, but I won't do it on your show.
I know. I was hoping you'd reenact it, but you're not. All right, Mark Levin is the name. Liberty and Tyranny is the book. It is already zoomed up to #1 on Amazon.com, just on optimism that he would be on my show.
That's correct.
It's amazing. That's the first time that's happened.
That's right.
Just on publicity.
Good
seeing you again.
God bless.
Mark Levin. He's lighting them up. All right, well, you can count, by the way, Senate Minority Whip John